This is the voice in the wilderness of the people, coming to you in the great wind. This is the day that I have made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I pray that Iah has kept you in good health, in good strength. I pray that he is looking over you and protecting you. As long as you continue to call out to his name and keep his commandments and hope in his promises. My dear brothers and sisters, today I will go into our book, and I will read our book from our book. Today I will begin in Deuteronomy chapter 4, and I will end in chapter 8. So I will do chapter 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 with you today in Deuteronomy. The reason for doing these scriptures with you today, my dear brothers and sisters, I want everyone who hear my voice to comprehend what Iah is saying to us as a people. I cannot stress more the importance of Iah's name to us, his words to us, his words in his commandments, and his promises to us. We are to keep in mind his name. He said this will be his memorial forever unto all generations. We must keep his word. He says we must not add to it. We must not take away from it. And his promises, we must hope in it. For Iah himself says, this is our life, our hope. So, as Iah's servants, we have to be faithful servants. As the people whom he have made his promises to, we are the people to inherit his promises. We must do as he says so that we could inherit his promises. As his servants, to be obedient, to inherit his promises. Iah has made it clear to us in the chapters I will read to you today that he and he alone is our Redeemer. My dear brothers and sisters, I don't know how more to say this to you. He alone is our Maker, our Redeemer, our Savior, our rock, our refuge, our shield, our buckler. Iah is the only one we have. As we still are today, we do not have a government, doesn't have a president, we do not have ministers, we do not have governors, we do not have our own hospitals with our doctors. But Iah promised us he will be with us. Iah promised us in these verses I will read to you today that we will not be sick. For Iah himself has made a covenant with us. He has told us that He is the only one we have, and He has made a covenant with us. EZER-IAH has given us His commandments, and EZER-IAH has made us to hear His voice. He has made us to hear His voice. EZER-IAH also told us we must teach our children. He tells us what we must teach our children. Because for us to bring EZER-IAH from generation to generation, we must teach our children. My dear brothers and sisters, in the passage I will read to you today, you will hear the word of EZER-IAH saying to you that you are His holy people. You are His. You are not belonging to anyone else. You cannot belong to Allah. You can't belong to Jehovah. You can't belong to Yahweh. You cannot belong to the mighty ones of Babylon. You can't belong to the deities of Egypt. You cannot belong to the idols of Rome. You only can belong to one, the one who have made you in His image and in His likeness, the one who have sent His name unto you when you were in the land of Egypt and forgot His name. When you forgot His name, you was enslaved. You was being controlled. You was manipulated and managed. You became as property. And He sent His name to you to revive you. And when you got His name and you called it, you saw what happened to the Egyptians. Even the sea obeyed your voice. Bread came down from heaven, water from the rock. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm going to emphasize again to you, the name of your Redeemer is EZER-IAH. He is the only one you got. Excuse me. As a people, we have one Redeemer. We have the same one is our Savior. And He will show you this in the passage I will read to you today. Excuse me. EZER-IAH also emphasized to us that we are promised victory if we will go through what we are going through and do not take our eyes from the prize. If we will go through what we are going through, knowing that EZER-IAH has spoken these words unto us. He gave us a choice, and our ancestors broke the agreement. So what we are going through, my dear brothers and sisters, we must go through it until IAH changes it. He has given us time. He told us there is a time for everything. IAH is the one who have put us through what we have going through. He is the one that will remove us from those conditions. We are not to go and seek after any other deity. We are not to go and pray to any other. We are not to call the name of any other. IAH promises us that when this period is over, all the blessings we missed, He will give it unto us. All the shortcomings we have had, He will make up for it with us. We must remember it is our disobedience that have caused us to be punished. And we must know and remember, when we turn back unto IAH, our Redeemer, we will then again be blessed. In the passages I will read to you today, IAH is saying to you, beware of idols. Idols are our stumbling block. Because of our situation, we have turned from IAH, and our people have gone after idols, believing and thinking that the idols will change the situation. They have gone to devils so that their situation could be changed. They have gone to Lucifer thinking that the situation will be changed. They have gone to fallen angels thinking that the situation will be changed. They have gone to evil spirits, even to wood and to stone. My dear brothers and sisters, hear this word this day. IAH is saying to you, comfort yourself in the situation you are in. If you are hungry, call out to IAH for food. If you are thirsty, call out to IAH for drink. Call out to IAH for clothes. Call out to IAH for shelter. Call out to IAH for healing. Call out to IAH and give Him thanks and sing praise through His name. IAH is close to us, my brothers and sisters. We do not need anyone to go looking for Him for us. He has given us the means of communication, the best means, the means through words, by speaking, by calling, by crying out to His name. My dear brothers and sisters, I don't know how I can put this again for you. But I hope that I will allow you to comprehend what I'm saying to you. It's because of our disobedience we are punished. And because we are punished, we are seeking help from devils, demons, Lucifer, idols, wood and stone, and they are not able to help us. Iah is our Redeemer, and we have to turn back to Iah. So now, my dear brothers and sisters, I want you to sit down. I want you to be quiet. I want to read words that Iah have sent to us through his prophets. His prophets whom he took from among our people. His prophets whom he has given his name. And his word to bring it unto us. So that when we hear their name, we will know they are men of Iah. And that's the reason his prophets had his name in their names. My dear brothers and sisters, when you call the names of the prophets, there are many, many prophets that came. Go in the book of Kings and in Chronicles and see their name. When you see this Iah in their name, that's the name of your Redeemer. The Most High never give us a name L-O-R-D. The Most High never give us a name JC. The Most High never give us a name Yahweh or Yahuwah. The Most High gave us his name as Iah, the Redeemer of EZER-IAH. So with this said, my brother and sisters, I would like you to take your book, and we will now go in the book of Deuteronomy. This was a book written by Shemaiah, and we will begin in chapter 4 from verse 1. And it reads, Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that you may live. Here we see, Shemaiah is saying, I have taught you what I have told me, and you have to do those things that I'm telling you, that you may live. My dear brothers and sisters, we have to keep the statutes and the judgments from Iah, which is the commandments, so that we may live and we may go and possess the land which Iah, our Redeemer, has given to our fathers. That land we call the Holy Land. That land we call the Promised Land. For us to possess this land, we must give up the deities of the heathen. We must give up the name Elordi. We must give up the name God. We must give up the name Yahweh. We must give up the name JC. We must give up all these names that the heathen has given unto us. My dear brothers and sisters, there are those that are teaching and they are speaking the words they see in the book. But the spirit of Isaiah has to open them eyes and their ears. Because a lot of them are not seeing what the heathen have done to our book. They don't comprehend that the heathen have taken the name of the Most High, the most valuable word that Ayah has given us. They have taken it out of the from the areas where it was supposed to be in our book. Yes, they left it in the names of the prophets. But when you call the name of the prophets, how do you know you are calling the name of the Most High? My dear brothers and sisters, our ancestors read from right to left. And when they call the name of the prophets and you see that word Ayah in the end, that's the name of your Redeemer. You see, when you go in your dictionary or your encyclopedia to look for the meaning of the names of the prophet, they will tell you it means God so and so, God so and so, God so and so. But again, when you look on the name, you don't see no God there. You don't see no Lord there. What you see is Ayah. So when you go to the meaning of the name, it's supposed to be Ayah so and so, Ayah so and so. I pray Ayah will allow you to comprehend what I'm saying to you. I pray with my whole heart, my whole soul, and with all my strength. I pray, Ayah, that you will open the ears of those who are listening to my words today, and you will give them your spirit of comprehension, that they may comprehend what I'm saying to them. Verse 2. You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish out from it, that you may keep the commandments of Ayah your Redeemer, that Ayah has commanded you. Your eyes have seen what Ayah did because of Baal-Peor. For all the men that followed Baal-Peor, Ayah your Redeemer has destroyed them from among you. My dear brothers and sisters, here Shema is saying to our ancestors, you have seen what Ayah have done to your Lord God, Baal-Peor. Baal-Peor is the same God. And he is saying here, you have seen what Ayah have done to Baal-Peor, to the people, the men who was praying to Baal-Peor, who was worshiping Baal-Peor, the men who was among you, the same Hebrew Israelites and the Egyptians who was worshiping Baal-Gad or Baal-Peor or Lord God. That's the same thing, my brothers and sisters. And here Shemaiah is saying, you have seen what I, your Redeemer, have done unto them. But you that did cleave unto I, your Redeemer, are alive, every one of you, this day. He's saying to them, but you who cleaved to I, your Redeemer, you who did not go to and worship Lord God, you who did not go and worship Baal Peor, you who did not go and worship Balagad, you are alive until this day. Verse 5, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgment, even as I, my Redeemer, commanded me. He is saying to them, as I command me, so I am commanding you. As I give me, so I am giving you. As he speak to me, I am speaking to you. Do not destroy any of the words that I'm giving you. Do not forget any of the words I am giving you. That's what our ancestor Shemaiah, the prophet, is saying to us. He continues, that you should do so in the land where you go to possess it. To live in that land where they were going, they had to do everything that he is speaking to them. Verse 6, keep therefore and do them. They had to keep the words and do what the words say to be done. They had to keep the words and do what the words say to them. For this is your wisdom and your comprehension in the sight of the nations. My dear brothers and sisters, these words was not given to all humanity. These words was not given to all the nations. These words was given to us. These words was given unto a special people. These words was given unto us. I know you hear the Christians saying that we all are the same. We all have the same blood. But by now, my brothers and sisters, you should know to differ. I sent his word unto us, a people who was dwelling in the land of Egypt. He sent his word, his name, his words, commandments, and his promises unto us. And if we do not take his words seriously, as Shemaiah is saying to us, we will suffer the consequences thereof. And if we take away from his word, or if we add to his word, we shall suffer the consequences thereof. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your comprehension in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and comprehending people. All the nations are supposed to see us and say, these are a wise people. This is a comprehending people. My dear people, my brothers and sisters, hear the word that Ayah is saying to us. Verse 7, for what nation is there so great, who Ayah so near unto, as Isaiah our Redeemer is in all things that we call upon him for. Whatever we call on Isaiah for, we will receive it. You need to call his name. His name is Isaiah. He is near to us. He has not gone to look to prepare a place for us. Our Redeemer has already prepared a place for us, and he is near to us. Verse 8. And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgment so righteous as all these law, which I set before you this day? My dear brothers and sisters, Shemaiah is stressing to us that there is no other nation, no other people that has laws as the one that Isaiah has given him to bring unto us. Verse 9. Only take heed to yourself and keep your soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest you depart from your heart all the days of thy life. But teach them to thy sons, and to thy son's son, and his sons. Here, Shemaiah is saying, take heed to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Remind yourself. Keep it diligently. Don't forget. He said, if you forget these things which your eyes have seen, if you allow them to depart from your heart, you are not to let them depart from your heart all the days of your life, but you are to teach them to your sons, and thy son's son, and the sons to come. Specifically, verse 10. The day that thou stoodest before Isaiah your Redeemer in Horeb. My dear brothers and sisters, do you comprehend that our ancestors stood up in front of the Most High? Do you know that our ancestors stood up and heard the voice of Isaiah himself in Mount Horeb? When Isaiah said unto Shemaiah, gather the people together, Isaiah told him to gather the people together, and Isaiah will make them hear his words. My dear brothers and sisters, we heard, our ancestors heard his voice. They heard his words, that they may learn to fear Isaiah all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. My dear brothers and sisters, I've done this in previous video, but it is incumbent upon me. It's overwhelming me. I have to say it again. I have to read this again to you, my brothers and sisters. Verse 11. You came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of heaven with dark clouds, thick darkness, and I speak unto you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of the words. Shemaiah is saying to them, you heard it. You was there. You heard the words. But you saw no similitude. You didn't see no image. You didn't see no picture. You didn't see no rock. You didn't see no stone. Only you heard a voice. My brothers and sisters, all they heard is a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant. He declared unto our ancestors his covenant. I declared unto our ancestors his covenant. Now today, my brothers and sisters, you're hearing the preachers, the pastors saying that it's Moses' law and Moses' words. And yes, Moses is telling you, Shemaiah is telling you that I is the one who spoke those words, which he commanded you to perform. He commanded them to do the words he spoke to them. He says, even 10 commandments, and he wrote them upon 2 tablets of stone. So he spoke it to them, and then he wrote it, the 10 commandments, on stone for them. And I commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgment. I commanded him to teach them the laws, that you might do them in the land where you go over to possess it. My dear brothers and sisters, do you know we have to learn these laws if we intend to go back into the land that he promised our ancestors? My dear brothers and sisters, we must learn those laws if we are to go back in the land that he promised us, the promised land. 15. Take you therefore good heed unto yourselves. He is repeating, take good heed unto yourselves, for you saw no manner of similitude on the day that I speak unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire. He said, take heed to yourself. You have seen no image. You have seen no form. You have seen no similitude. So remember, you have not seen any similitude. So he's telling him, don't go and make any, because you have not seen any. So anything you go and make would be fake, would be idol, would be a lie, because you have not seen anything. So if you then go and make something, you are a liar. Verse 16. Lest you corrupt yourselves and make you graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female. He says, if you don't remember what I'm saying to you, if you don't keep it in your mind, you will go and do like the other nations. You will make graven image. You will make similitude of any figure, anything like they are making now. They make anything. The likeness of male or female. The likeness of any beast that is on the earth. The likeness of any winged fowl that fly in the heaven. The likeness of anything that creep on the ground. The likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the star, even all the host of heaven, should be driven to worship them. If you forget, that is Isaiah commanding you to worship him and him alone. If you take this out of your head, your intellect, you will then go and make graven images. You will then go and make likeness of beasts and worship it. You will make likeness of fowl like the eagle and worship it. You will make likeness of creeping things and you will worship it. You will make likeness of fish and you will worship it. And then that wouldn't be enough for you. You will then look up into the heaven, and when you see the sun, you will worship it. When you see the moon, you will worship it. When you see the stars, you will worship it. You will worship everything you see up in the heavens. Should us be driven to worship them and serve them, which Isaiah your Redeemer has divided unto all nations under the whole earth. The Most High has divided the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the clouds to all the nations. They are not to be worshipped. They are for light, for seasons, for time, for months, for weeks, for years. Verse 20. But Isaiah has taken you. Isaiah has taken you. Listen to the words Shemaiah is saying. But Isaiah has taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace. What is the iron furnace? Slavery in Egypt, where we were suffering. Even out of Egypt, to be unto him a people of inheritance. Isaiah has taken us out from among the nations to be an inheritance unto himself. As you are this day. When Shemaiah was speaking to them, they was not worshiping no wood and stone. They wasn't worshiping Jesse. They wasn't worshiping Allah in Mecca. They wasn't worshiping the cross. They wasn't worshiping Jesse. They was worshiping Isaiah. Furthermore, Isaiah was angry with me for your sake, and swear that I should not go over unto Jordan, that I should not go in unto that good land, which Isaiah your Redeemer give thee for an inheritance. Jeremiah is saying, Isaiah got angry with him because of their ways. Because of their ways, he did something that caused Isaiah to get angry with him. But 22, but he must die in this land and must not go over to the Jordan, but you shall go over and possess that good land. So he's saying, I would not go over with you because Isaiah has said I'm not going over there. Why Isaiah was angry with him? Because when he struck the rock, he did not glorify Isaiah before the children of Israel. And that's why Isaiah told him he's going to die and not go over to the land. Verse 23, he says, I'm not going over there with you. Isaiah say I'm going to die here, but you going over, you going to possess the land. But now you going over, remember this. Verse 23, take heed unto yourselves, that's the third time, lest you forget the covenant of Isaiah your Redeemer, which he made with you, and make you a graven image, or the likeness of anything which Isaiah your Redeemer has forbidden you. He say again, make sure and remember, do not go and make any idol. Remember, Do not go and take any other name in your mouth. Do not do anything that Iah has forbidden you to do. 24. For Iah your Redeemer is a consuming fire, even a jealous Redeemer. He is always watching. He's saying to them, because he is always watching you. 25. When you shall beget children and children's children, and you shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves, and make a graven image, or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of Iah your Redeemer, to provoke him to anger. He says, when you go over in this land, when you go there, you hard-headed people, you will do things to provoke Iah. 26. He says, if you do these things, he says, right now I'm putting the word out in the wind. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish off the land whereunto you go over to Jordan to possess it. So he's saying, if you go into that land and do anything that I tell you you must not do, I am making it clear to you today that you will not be able to stay in that land. You will be destroyed. 27. And Iah shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, where Iah shall lead you. That's where we are today. And we are minority among the heathen. We are a minority among them in America, a minority among them in England, a minority among them in Europe, in Germany, in every big cities around the world. We are a minority. That's where Iah have led us. And there you shall serve gods. Listen to what he just says to you. Verse 28. And there you shall serve gods. So my dear people, Shemaiah is telling you, we were not serving no gods. We were serving Iah. We were not serving no G-O-D, no L-O-R-D. We were serving one who had a name, who gave us a name. His name was Iah. We was calling on his name. That's why we asked, Jeremiah asked, when I go to them and say, what is thy name? Because he knew our people go ask, what is the name? We was calling a name, not a title. We was not calling Baal. We was not calling Baal. We was not calling Baal-Peor. We was calling Iah. So he's telling us here that when they go, there they shall serve gods. You see, now he will explain to you what are gods. The work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But if from thence thou shalt seek Iah your Redeemer, thou shalt find him. If thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul, you will find him. He's telling you, in that place where you will be scattered among the nation as a remnant, there you will serve GODs. And he's telling you GODs are the work of men's hands, like what you see in the churches. Like you see the moon and the star, they draw it. Like you see the cross, they build it up. They make it with their hands. That's GODs. Wood and stone. They can't see, they no hear, they eat, no smell. And he tells you in 29, Shemaiah is speaking to them. He said, but if from where that place where you will be scattered, if when you are scattered in that place, if you decide to seek your Redeemer, you will find him. My dear brothers and sisters, that's what we have to do right here. We are now seeking Iah. We have to seek him. We have to call his name. If thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul, when thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days. He says, even in the latter days, even in the last days, even in the last days, when thou art in trouble, and all these curses come upon you, when you are scattered, when you become a remnant among the nation, and they start to persecute you, because that's what nations do. They persecute their remnants. Even in that day, if you turn to Iah your Redeemer, and shall be obedient unto his voice. Which voice? The commandments he spoke, the covenant he made. If in that day you decide to turn to Iah your Redeemer and to be obedient unto his commandments, for Iah your Redeemer is a merciful Redeemer. 31. He will not forsake you, neither destroy you, nor forget the covenant he made with your fathers, which he swore unto them. Iah will never forget us. When we turn to him, even though we are away from him and turn away from him, he has not forgotten us. He is waiting for us to come back to him. My dear brothers and sisters, verse 31, he have not shown us no Jehovah. He has not shown us no Yahweh. He haven't shown us no JC, no one to die for us to bring us back. He have just told us what we have to do. For Iah your Redeemer is a merciful Redeemer. He will not forsake you, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he swore unto them. He will not destroy us. He will not forget us. He will not forsake us. Why? He is a merciful, our Redeemer is a merciful Redeemer. 32. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day that Iah created man upon the earth, and ask from the one side of heaven unto the other, whether there has been any such thing as this great thing is, or has been heard like it. Shemaiah is speaking to our fathers and mothers, uncles, brothers, sisters, aunts, and he's saying to them, there has never been something like this before. You could look to heaven, to the left, to the right. You will never have had an experience as that experience what Iah has just promised you. Iah has just promised you he will never leave you. He will never forsake you. He will never forget you. He will never destroy you. You are to turn back to Isaiah, our Redeemer. 33. Did ever a people hear the voice of Isaiah speaking out of the midst of the fire? Has there ever been any nation or any people heard Isaiah speak to them besides you? As thou hast heard and live, or has Isaiah said to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation by temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terror, according to all that Isaiah your Redeemer did for you in Egypt before your eyes? Jeremiah is asking them, Shemaiah is asking, has there ever been a mighty one who has done that to a people, any people besides you? Has any nation experienced the things you have experienced? Now Shemaiah is speaking. He hasn't died yet. So he's speaking to them before he died. He's asking them, has any other nation experienced this thing that you have experienced? No other nation have experienced this. None. He says in 35, unto you it was shown that thou may know that I, he is your Redeemer. There is none besides him. He tell them, the reason why I have done all these things before your eyes is for you to know, to you there is no other Redeemer. To you there is no other Savior. To you there is no other mighty one. To you is no JC. To you is no Jehovah. To you there is no Yahweh. To you is no Allah. To you is Ayah. 36. Out of heaven he made thee to hear his voice, that he might instruct you, and upon earth he showed you his great fire, and thou heard his words out of the midst of the fire. They're telling you that Moses brought a law, and that law doesn't exist no more. Here Shemaiah, Moses is telling you who brought his law. Shemaiah is telling you who came down and speak. Shemaiah is telling them, you heard his voice. You didn't hear me. I didn't speak to you. He spoke to you. He gave you his words. And 37. And because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought you out in the sight with his mighty power out of Egypt. Because I loved your fathers who was obedient to him. They were obedient to him, so he loved them. And because of that, he's doing what he's doing for you. 38. To drive out nations before you, great and mightier than thou art. Those nations that he's destroying before you are stronger than you. To bring you in, to give thee the land for an inheritance as it is this day. My dear brothers and sisters, the different nations our people had to pass before they get to the promised land. And Isaiah was the one who was beating down their enemies before their face. It's the same thing Isaiah is going to do for us today. He has begun. Isaiah have sent the message that he has begun. He's transferring our troubles from us unto those who troubled us. And this is a day to rejoice and to be glad, and to sing praise to Iah, our Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Know therefore this day and consider it in your heart, that Iah, he is your Redeemer, in heaven above and upon the earth beneath. There is none else. He is telling you there is no one else. There is no JC for you. You, Hebrew Israelite, there is no one else for you. Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command you this day, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, and that thou may prolong thy days upon the earth, which I, your Redeemer, has given thee forever. The earth is ours. Then Shemaiah served 3 cities on this side of Jordan towards the sunrise, that the slayer might flee there, which should kill his neighbor unawares, and hate him not in times past. Then he set up the cities so that those who have committed a crime will go until he is tried, and if he didn't commit it, this is a law. You have to read this law. But I'm not going into this with you. I am going to take you now to chapter 5, because you can read this by yourself. I just want to show you what I is saying to us that we have to do now. This here is when we are in the land. And Shemaiah called EZER-IAH and say unto them, Hear, O EZER-IAH, the statutes and judgment which he speak this day, that you may learn them and keep and do them. We have to hear them, we have to learn them, we have to keep them, and we have to do them. Not just keep them, we have to hear them, we have to keep them, and we have to do them. So which means we have to know them. We must know them. If we don't know them, we are not keeping them. And if we don't know them, we cannot do them. Iah, our Redeemer, made a covenant with us in Horeb. Iah made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us. He is speaking about those who was alive at that time, because at that time, that's when he made that covenant with them. When he sprinkled the blood on them in Mount Horeb, when Iah spoke unto them, and they promised they will do whatever Iah said to do, they will do it. Even us, who are all of us here alive this day. You see, he was speaking about those who was alive at that time. So this covenant was from them who was alive from that day onward until this day. We are still alive. We are still dependent. We are still the DNA. We are still we are still part of them. We are still here. Iah talk with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire. Here again, he's telling them, reminding them, you heard Iah spoke to you. It's not just I speaking to you. You heard him speak to us. I stood between Iah and you at that time to show you the word of Iah, for you were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up into the mountain, saying, Iah, your Redeemer, he says, Iah, your Redeemer, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. That's what they heard. He is Iah, your Redeemer, who brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other before me. You shall have no other before Iah. No one else, no other name, no other name. From the time you use a different name, you are bringing a different one before the Most High. Iah is his name. Thou shalt have none gods, because I just showed you earlier, they are made by the hands of men, and we should have none. You're not to call on them before the Most High. The names they give you, the man they give you, whatever they give you, you are not to call. You are supposed to call what Iah gives you. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness, anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. We are not to have any image of anything. Now, my brothers and sisters, look at the heathen. Look at the heathen. And they all have idols and statues and things they make and worship. They have the moon and the star, the big picture. They have the cross. They have the Virgin Mary. They have the JC. They have all these idols. Idols. In every nation, every hidden nation, they have idols. They make them with their hand. Iah is telling us, and Shemaiah is warning us here again before he died. Do not do those things. So if we are not to worship the idols, we cannot be calling the name of the idols that they worship. As I see some of our brothers and sisters, they're telling you that JC is not white, he is black. What difference does it make if he's white or whether he's black? You are doing the same thing they are doing, my brothers and sisters. You cannot pray to an idol. You can't pray to a stone nor a wood. You cannot pray to a man. You're not to pray to a man. If you say that there one came and his name was Yeshua and he walked the earth, he ate, he drank, he himself in the book he said that he is not the Most High, and he couldn't be the Most High because he was a man. He had a mother, he had to have a father. Well, they tell you he didn't have a father, but he must have an egg. Well, he have a mother. He was beaten up, he was put on a tree, and he was killed. That's what they say. Then they say he was dead. They tell you he was dead. They tell you he was buried. Is your Redeemer? Can man kill your Redeemer? Our Redeemer who beat down nations before our face when we was going to the land that he promised us. Our Redeemer who part the sea and caused all Pharaoh and his mighty army to drown in it. Our Redeemer who bring all those plagues on Egypt. Our Redeemer who turned the water into blood. Our Redeemer who turned the stick into a snake. Our Redeemer who caused food to fall down from heaven for us. Our Redeemer who gave us water from the rock. Our Redeemer. You're telling me that our Redeemer was put on a tree and killed, then dead, and was buried? My dear people, see what Shemaiah is saying to us. Hear what he's saying to us. Hear what he's saying to us. Verse 9. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them, for I, your Redeemer, is a jealous Redeemer, which means he is always watching. Jealousy in the sense means he is always watching. He is possessive of what he has. He have chosen you, he's going to watch you. He doesn't want you to make no mistakes. That's why he is giving you all these warnings. Visiting the iniquity of the father upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate Iah. Iah says he is watching you. And when you are doing wrong, he's going to punish you. And your children will bear in the punishment too. It's not that your children have committed the crime. No. But because of your father is being punished. If your father is poor and he cannot buy food, aren't you going to go hungry? If your father cannot get water, you will be thirsty as well. Your father can't get clothes, you will be naked. Your father can't provide shelter for you, you will be shelterless. And that's what he's saying to us. And he says here, for 4 generations, from the 3rd to the 4th generation. And that's the exact thing happened to us. 400 years we are in this place in captivity. 4 generations. At least 100 years a generation. We count, it's supposed to be 70, but let's say 100. 400 years. He put us here for 4 generations. Verse 10. Showing mercy unto thousands of them that love and keep his commandments. Here Shemaiah is saying to them, if you break his commandments, you're going to suffer. If you keep his commandments, I will show mercy on you. Verse 11. Thou shalt not take the name of Iah your Redeemer in vain. Which name you must not take in vain? Is it L-O-R-D? Is it JC? Is it Jehovah? Is it Yahweh? Well, the Most High gave us his name, just like he's speaking to Shemaiah. Shemaiah here is telling you that the Most High spoke to us. He didn't write to us. He just wrote the 10 commandments on a stone and gave it to him after he spoke to them, so that they could keep it in the covenant for generations to come. But to our ancestors in that day, he spoke to them. They heard his voice. The 10 commandments wasn't written for them. The 10 commandments was written for their children to come, so they will know it. It won't be lost. And it's the heathen still took it away. Verse 11, thou shalt not take the name of Iah your Redeemer in vain, for Iah will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. Do you see what Iah is saying to you? What Shemaiah is telling you, Iah says? He will not hold you guiltless, you that take his name in vain. You that refuse to call on his name, how are you going to receive mercy? You that put his name to ruin, how would you get mercy? You, he gave you his name and you refuse it. You reject it. Verse 12. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as Iah your Redeemer has commanded you. Shemaiah here is repeating everything to them before he passed. Before he go up on the mountain and die, he is repeating to them all what they're supposed to remember, what they're supposed to do. As Iah your Redeemer has commanded you, keep your Sabbath, the Sabbath holy. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of Iah your Redeemer. In it shall you do no work. You nor your sons, nor your daughters, nor your men servants, nor your maiden servants, nor thine ox, or thine ass, or any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maiden servant may rest, as well as you. Your servant's supposed to rest, your animal's supposed to rest, your son's supposed to rest, your daughter's supposed to rest. You are supposed to rest on that day. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of Iah your Redeemer. In it shalt thou not do any work. You, nor your sons, nor your daughters, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as you do. Every part of you have to rest. What belongs to you have to rest. You have to rest. And remember that you were a servant in the land of Egypt, and that I, your Redeemer, has brought you out thence, thou a mighty hand, by a stretched out arm. Therefore I, your Redeemer, command you to keep the Sabbath holy. I command you to keep the Sabbath holy. That's not Moshe's Sabbath. That's not Shemaiah's Sabbath. That's Ayah's Sabbath. He commands you to keep it holy. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, you have seen what has happened to our people. Since they have joined up with the heathen, since they have gone unto the heathen, they worship wood, they worship stone, they worship Moloch, they break the Sabbath, they commit whoredom, their blood is joining with blood. My dear people, my dear sisters, they are carrying all the diseases of the world. Turn to Isaiah. You who hear this voice in the wilderness, you who hear this voice today, listen and turn to Isaiah, your Redeemer. Turn to him. Verse 16. Honor your father and your mother, as Isaiah, your Redeemer, has commanded you, that your days may be prolonged, and that it may go well with you in the land which Isaiah, your Redeemer, has given you. You have to obey your mothers and your fathers. And your mother and father does not only pertain to the one who gives birth to you. All your elders or your fathers. All the elders are your mothers and your fathers. Verse 17. You shall not commit murder. You shall not commit murder. Verse 18. Neither shalt thou commit adultery. You must not commit adultery. You wives must not leave your husband and go with strangers. So too you must not leave Ayah and go to strange deities. They all are adultery. Verse 19. Neither shalt thou steal. Do not take what is not yours. Do not deprive anyone of their belongings. Verse 20. Neither shalt thou bear false witness against your neighbor. Do not lie on anyone and cause them problems. It will come unto you. Verse 21. Neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, neither his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. Do not be covetous of anything that you do not have, because covetousness will cause you to do wrong to get it. These words I speak unto all your assemble in the mount out of the midst of the fire. Jeremiah is reminding them, these are the words I spoke to you. These are, you heard it. You heard it. He spoke it to you. Who you? You, the children of Israel and Judah. That's who he's speaking to. Of the cloud and of the thick darkness, with a great voice, he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tablets of stone and delivered them unto me. He's saying here, is the same thing you heard, is the same thing he write. The same thing you heard is the same thing he write. Verse 23. And it come to pass, when you heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, for the mountain did burn with fire, that you came near unto me, even all the head of your tribe and your elders. Verse 24. He's saying, when you saw the fire, when you saw the cloud, when you heard the voice, you came close to him. You came close to Moshe. You came close to Shemaiah. You came close to him. And you said, behold, our Redeemer has shown us his glory and his greatness. And we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that Iah does talk with man, and he lives. He's telling them, you see, Iah live. Iah is not no spirit. He talks to men. He lives. That's why we are made in his image and in his likeness. He is a being. He's not no spirit. He is alive. And we are in his image. So when we see ourselves, we see Iah. And when we act, we should act as he does, because his spirit lives in us. Now therefore, 25, now therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of Iah our Redeemer anymore, then we shall die. They were scared because they know they was wicked. They knew all the wrong things they was doing. And here they did all the things they didn't believe. And here Iah is actually in front of them in fire, burning fire, and they're hearing the voice speaking to them. So what do you think? They're saying that Iah is going to destroy them. They were scared because they know it's just like anyone. When you know you're doing wrong, you're always scared. You always have fear when you're doing wrong. 26. For who is there of all flesh that has heard the voice of the living Redeemer speak out of the midst of the fire as we have and live? There is no one else ever experienced, no other nation, no other people have ever experienced such a thing. 27. Go down near and hear all that Iah our Redeemer shall say, and speak thou unto us all that Iah our Redeemer shall speak unto thee, and we will hear it and do it. So they tell him, you go up to the mountain and hear everything he have to say. You go up in the mountain, and then when you hear it, you will come back and tell us all that he had to say. And I heard the voice of your words when you speak unto me. And Iah said unto me, I have heard the voice of the words of these people, which they have spoken unto you. They have well said all that they have spoken. Oh, that there was such an heart in them, that they would fear Iah. Iah is saying, now, if only they will have the heart to listen to his words, listen to him directly. But their heart is so wicked. Their heart was done darkened. They can't bear to hear his voice. Just like we are today. They can't bear to hear his name. They wouldn't speak his name. Turn to him and call his name. Turn to Iah and call his name. I is saying, if they would only fear him and keep all his commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. He says, if they hear it from me, my mouth, it'll be great. But if I speak to you and you speak to them, if they do it, they will get the same response. If they do it, they will get the same response that I will give if they heard it directly from my mouth. Go say to them, get you into your tents again. But as for thee, stand thou here by me, and I will speak unto you. So he said to Shemaiah, go tell them, go in their tents. But you, Shemaiah, you stand up there. So I'm going to speak to you. Unto thee all the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which thou shalt teach them, that they may do them in the land which I give them to possess it. 32. You shall observe to do therefore all I, your Redeemer, has commanded you. You shall not turn aside to the right or to the left. Here Jeremiah is reminding them. He's telling them, repeating to them all that what Isaiah has, how he have done it, how he have said it. He is repeating it to them. 33. You shall walk in all the ways which I, your Redeemer, has commanded you, that you may live, that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which I has given you to possess. Chapter 6. Now, these are the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I, your Redeemer, commanded him to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you go to possess it, that thou might fear I, your Redeemer, to keep all his statutes, all his commandments, which he command you, you and your sons and your son's son, all the days of your life, that the days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Ezer-IAH, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you. My dear brothers and sisters, the Most High here is not telling you to call on the name of no JC. He is not telling you here that he sent somebody to die for you. He's telling you what you have to do, and that you may increase mightily, as I, your Redeemer of thy fathers, have promised thee, in the land that flow with milk and honey. Hear, O Ezer-IAH, our Redeemer is one Redeemer, or one Savior. I will repeat, verse 4. Hear, O Ezer-IAH, our Redeemer is one. He is one Savior. He is one. He don't have no son that he sent to die for anybody, any one of us. We Hebrew Israelites have one Redeemer. He is our Savior. And thou shalt love our Redeemer with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. If you have to love your Redeemer with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might, all your intelligence, all your body, your whole body, you have to do as he commands you to do with your whole body, the soul, and with all the strength he give you, the senses, the life he give you. How could you then have to go and serve any others? How could you have to serve any other when he tell you you have to serve him with all? Don't follow the heathens. Study your Redeemer. His name is Isaiah. Verse 6. That's verse 6 of 6. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. You have to put these words in your intellect, inside your memory bank, inside you where you would not forget it, in the same place where you put your name. In the same place where you put your father's name, your mother's name. In the same place where you put your children's name. In the same place where you put your ABC. In the same place where you put your 1, 2, and 3. In the same intellect. Put his name there. Put his laws there. Put his promises there. And remember them. And remember your promise. And don't get weak-hearted. Don't give up and go after false deities when little problems come. Remember the promise. Remember the promise. And this will help you through. Remember the promise. Call his name. And when hard times come, remember the promise. And keep his commandments. Thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sit in thine house, and when thou walk by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou rise up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thy eyes. And thou shalt write them upon the post of thy house and on thy gates. And it shall be when I, your Redeemer, shall have brought you into the land which he sware unto your fathers, to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob, to give thee great and righteous cities, goodly cities, which thou buildest not, and houses full of goods, things which thou findest not, and well dig, which thou dig not, vineyards and olive trees which thou plantest not. When thou shalt have eaten and be full, then beware lest thou forget Iah. When you get there and you get happy and you have house now, nobody bothering you no more. You have fruits now, you don't have to buy it no more. You don't have to beg nobody for crumbs no more. Don't forget. He said, when you get there and this happen to you, do not forget Iah. Do not forget Iah, who brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Don't forget Iah, the one who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. JC did not bring you out from there. Jehovah didn't bring you out of there. Allah didn't bring you out of there. Iah brought you out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt fear Iah your Redeemer, and serve him alone, and shall swear by his name. This is the name you have to call. The only name you have is Iah. You have to worship Iah and serve him. And whatever you call, if you're praying to him, you're making supplication to him, you're thanking him, or you're rejoicing before him, it is the same name. Iah, Almighty. You shall not go after other gods. You cannot go after gods. You cannot go after gods of the people which are wronged about you. You in particular, you EZER-IAH, you EZER-IAH, you have one Redeemer. His name is Iah, and it is forever, to all memorial. For Iah your Redeemer is a jealous Redeemer among you. He is among you. He is watching you. He doesn't want you to go to any other. He don't want you go astray. He don't want you go to no G-O-D. He don't want you go to no L-O-R-D. He don't want you go to no J-C. He don't want you go to Baal-Peor. He don't want you go to Yahweh. He don't want you go to Yah. He don't want you go to Yahuwah. He don't want you go to Yashahai. He don't want you go to no other but him, Iah. He said, lest his anger will be kindled against you and destroy you from off the face of the earth. Don't you see how your people are being destroyed? EZER-IAH, EZER-IAH, are you hearing the groaning of your people? Are you not seeing how they are being destroyed? Why can't you turn to Isaiah your Redeemer and seek him? Why won't you call out his name? Why are you so afraid of him? Do you need his spirit? Call out his name. That's what he gave you, and his commandments and his promises. Verse 16. You shall not tempt Isaiah your Redeemer as you tempted him in Marsha. You shall not tempt Isaiah your Redeemer as when you went and called on Baal Peor. You must not tempt your Redeemer as when you went and called on Lord God. You cannot tempt your Redeemer when you call on LORDJC. You are tempting him to anger. Just like our ancestors did in the land of Marsha. We cannot do this. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Isaiah your Redeemer and his testimonies and his statutes which he has commanded you. He is the one commanded us. Now Moses didn't command us nothing. Isaiah commanded us. Listen what Moshe is saying to you. And thou shalt do that which is right and good in the sight of Isaiah, that it may be well with you, and that thou may go in and possess the good land which Isaiah sware unto our fathers. We must keep the commandments. We must call his name. We must honor him if we want to go back into that land that he promised us. 19. To cast out all thy enemies before thee, as Isaiah has spoken. And 20. And when thy son ask thee in time to come, saying, what mean the testimonies? What does these testimonies mean? He said, when your children come and they ask you, what does testimonies mean? What does statutes mean? What the judgment means, which Isaiah our Redeemer has commanded you? We must let them know. Then thou shalt say unto thy son, we were Pharaoh's bondmen in Egypt, and Isaiah our Redeemer has brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Well, my dear brothers and sisters, when we go back into the land and our children ask us what this means, we will say, we will speak the new thing. It is Isaiah our Redeemer who took us out of the land of the daughter of Babylon. Isaiah our Redeemer who removed us from our enemies. It is Isaiah our Redeemer testimonies that have taken us out from among the heathen. And Isaiah show signs and wonders great and sore upon Egypt and upon Pharaoh and upon all his household before our eyes. Now, my brothers and sisters, Isaiah is about to show us the same signs and wonders that he has done unto Egypt. Open your eyes and start to see. For Isaiah himself said, only with our eyes we will see the reward of the wicked. Open your eyes and see the plagues upon these nations. 23. And he brought us out from thence, that he might bring us in, to give us the land which he sware unto our fathers. And Isaiah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Isaiah our Redeemer for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. We have to call on Isaiah to be alive. We have to call on Isaiah to go back to that land. 25. And it shall come, and it shall be our righteousness, if we observe to do all these commandments before Isaiah our Redeemer, as he has commanded us. It is our righteousness to do the commandments that Isaiah has commanded us. It is our righteousness, my dear brothers and sisters, to keep and to do the commandments. Chapter 7.
When I, your Redeemer, shall bring you into the land where thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before you, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations mightier than you, 7 nations bigger than you, but you will be able with Iah's help to drive them out. And when Iah your Redeemer shall deliver them before you, you shall smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. We are not to show mercy unto them. We are not to sorry for them. We are not to make any covenant with them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Your daughters thou shalt not give unto their sons, nor your daughters shalt thou take unto their sons. We are not to give them our daughters for their sons, and we are not to give our sons unto their daughters. For they will turn away thy sons from following Iah. Isn't that what they have done? That is what they have done, my dear brothers and sisters. That's what they have done. They will always turn us away from Iah and bring us to their idols, that they may they will serve other deities. They will no longer serve Iah because they have gone to the heathen. So will the anger of Iah be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. That's why we are destroyed. And this is not only speaking about the white nation, this is speaking of the black heathen nations as well. We are to serve Iah, and all of us, the brothers and sisters who seek in Iah, must get to know each other and see eye to eye and praise him and glorify him and keep his commandments and make Iah feel happy that we are here recognizing him, to make Iah feel comfortable that we are here turning back unto him. Verse 5, but thus shall you deal with them. You shall destroy their altars and break down their images. We are to destroy their altars, not go in front of it and kneeling down and crying and praying in front of the cross, in front of the statues, in front of the star and moon. We are not to do it. We are to break them down. We are to destroy them and cut down their groves, burn their graven images with fire. For thou art a holy people unto Iah your Redeemer. Iah your Redeemer has chosen us to be a special people unto him, unto himself. Iah have chosen us to be a special people unto him. You cannot be no Jehovah's Witness. You have to be Iah's witness. You can't be no 7 Days Adventist. You have to be Iah's witness. You can't be no Presbyterian, no Pentecostal. You are a Hebrew Israelite, and you have to serve Iah. For thou art a holy people unto Iah your Redeemer. Iah your Redeemer has chosen you to be a special people unto himself, above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Upon all the people that are on the face upon the earth, Iah have chosen us. Iah have chosen you. Remember that. You are not like the rest. He have chosen you. He has given you his name. He has given you his commandments. He has given you his promises. You are different. Iah did not set his love upon you, nor chose you because you were more in number than any people. Here he's telling you, Shemaiah is telling them, Iah didn't choose you because you are greater than any other nation. No, but For you were the fewest of all the people. I chose you, but you was fewer than all the other nations. But I chose you because I loved you. Verse 8. And because he will keep the oath which he has sworn unto your father. I have brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt. Know therefore that I am your Redeemer, he is your Savior, the faithful Redeemer, which keep covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations, and repay them that hate him to their face. To destroy them, he will not be slack to them. He promised he will destroy all the other nations that hate him. He will repay him to his face. Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgment which I have commanded thee this day to do them. Wherefore it shall come to pass, if you hearken to these judgments and keep and do them, that I, your Redeemer, shall keep unto you the covenant and the mercy which he sware unto your father. He will love you and bless you and multiply you. He will also bless the fruit of your womb and the fruit of thy land, thy corn and thy wine and thy oil and the increase of thy kind and the flock of thy sheep in the land which he sware unto your fathers to give you. Thou shalt be blessed above all people. There shall not be male or female barren among you or among your cattle. And I will take away from you all sicknesses, and will put none of the evil disease of Egypt, which thou knowest. He will not put any sickness on you. He will remove all sickness from you. He will not put the plagues that our ancestors saw in Egypt. He will not put it on us. But he will lay it upon all them that hate us. Verse 16. And thou shalt consume all the people who I, your Redeemer, shall deliver to thee. Thine eye shall have no pity upon them, neither shalt thou serve their gods, for that will be a snare unto you. He come back and telling you again, if you serve their gods, it will be a snare unto you. It will destroy you. Serve I, your Redeemer. He is your Savior. He is the only one for you. Verse 17. If thou shalt say in thy heart, these nations are more than you, how can I dispose them? You are not to worry about how big they are. You are not to worry how mighty they are. I will protect you. Don't question I. Do what he tells you to do. Call his name. Keep his commandments. And hope in the promise. You are of the promise. Thou shalt not be afraid of them, but shall well remember what I, your Redeemer, did unto Pharaoh and unto all Egypt. Remember, I always will defend you. Remember, I will stand up for us. We are not to worry about what they're doing to us. We are to take it with humility. Call on I, praise him, and hope in the promise. 19. The great temptation which thine eyes saw, and the signs and the wonders, and the mighty hand, and the stretched out arm, whereby I, our Redeemer, brought us out. So shall I, our Redeemer, do unto all the people of whom thou art afraid. Moreover, our Redeemer will send the hornet among them until they that are left and hide themselves from thee be destroyed. Thou shalt not be affrighted at them, for I, your Redeemer, is among you, a mighty Redeemer, a strong Redeemer. And I, our Redeemer, will put out those nations before us by little and little. Thou mayest not consume them at once, lest the beasts of the field increase upon thee. He said, I will allow the nations to come to you little by little, and you will destroy them. Because if I put them all at one time, then the beasts will increase and they will start to hurt you. So leave it to Iah. Leave it to Iah. Leave the destruction to Iah. My dear brothers and sisters, we do not need swords. My dear brothers and sisters, we do not need guns. My dear brothers and sisters, we do not need an army. All we need to do is raise our voice in unison and praise Iah. Call his name, acknowledge him, call him and praise him. Do the commandments and hope in his promise. 23. But I, your Redeemer, shall deliver them unto thee, and shall not destroy them with a mighty destruction until they be destroyed. He will destroy them in the way he wants to destroy them. And remember the message I've given you. Iah has begun. Iah has started taking out our troubles from us and putting it onto our enemies. Remember this and look. Remember this and look. You will see it. Remember these words you hear from my mouth and look. You will see it. 24. And he shall deliver the kings into thy hand, and thou shalt destroy their name from under heaven. There shall no man be able to stand before thee until thou have destroyed them. As they seek to destroy Iah's name from us and cause his name not to be mentioned by us anymore, so Iah will destroy them and their names and the names of their idols. The graven images of their gods shall he burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them. When you see their idols, when their idols is destroyed, don't even take the gold or the silver it is made of. Nor take it unto thee. Don't take it to yourself. You see that cross in the road, the big gold cross? Don't take it and say, I'm going to melt it and wear it. Don't take it unto yourself, lest thou be snared therein. Don't take it, it will snare you. For it is an abomination to Iah your Redeemer. The very gold that they have made into this cross has become an abomination to Iah. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thy house. Don't bring it into your house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it. Don't bring the cross into your house. Don't bring the moon and star into your house. Don't bring the Moloch symbol in your house. Don't bring it into your house. But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, hate it. For it is a cursed thing. The things that they're wearing and saying it's for blessing, it's cursed. My dear brothers and sisters, the wood, the cross, the stone, the idols, the images are cursed. Don't put them on you. Don't carry them on you. If you find it in the street, you could find a statue made of a gold, pure gold. Leave it there. Don't mash it up. Don't take it. You find a gold cross or the chain with a big gold cross in it, and you see it lying in the street, you fall from them. Don't take it and put it on yourselves. Don't put it on yourself. It's a cursed thing. Listen what Shemaiah is saying here to you. He's telling us what to do. He's telling us what Isaiah says. Now we go to chapter 8, and this will be the last chapter. I will read with you. And it's read, all the commandments which I command thee this day shall you observe to do, that you may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which I swear unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which I, your Redeemer, have led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee. Well, he have led us 400 years. We had 400 years to humble us. Our ancestors was 40 years. We had 400 years to settle us, to humble us, my dear brothers and sisters. 400 years. And now Isaiah is about to choose between cattle and cattle, and between sheep and sheep. To prove thee, to know that was in thine heart, where thou wouldest keep his commandment or not. Yet has here 400 years to know whether we were going to keep his commandments or not. 400 years Isaiah has proven us to know whether we will keep his commandments or not. And we are failing. We are failing. But Isaiah has said he will take one from a city and two from a family. It's a remnant. So my dear brothers and sisters who are hearing this, go in your book. I am in the book of Deuteronomy. I am now in chapter 8 and verse 3. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna which thou knewest not. Neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man do not live by bread only, but by every word that proceed out of the mouth of Yahweh does man live. My dear brothers, that is not just what he did to them in Egypt. He has done it to us as well. We are here in this land. We are eating and drinking. Although they hate us, it is the land of our enemy. Yahweh has provided for us. Yahweh continue to provide for us. We must know that, and we must give thanks to him for that. Just like our ancestors gave thanks when they was in the wilderness and they received the manna. He is preparing a table before us every day. We must give thanks to Yahweh. Verse 4. Thy remnant waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell. These 40 years. Well, we are here for 400 years, and we are still here alive. We are still here with children. We are still here living in houses. We are still here eating and drinking. He has done it for us. It's the same thing. Yahweh does not change. Yahweh does not change. The same thing our ancestors had to do, we have to do the same thing. We have to accomplish it. It's the same test. It's the same criteria. It's the same measures. It's the same principles that we have to follow so that we could go back, get out of this captivity and go back into the land. Thou shalt consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so I, our Redeemer, chasten us. As we punish our children when they do wrong, so Yahweh punishes us. He is telling you here. Jeremiah is telling you. So the punishment you're going through is because of what we are doing. And we need to stop doing it. We need to stop worshiping idols. We need to get those names out of our mouth. We need to take up a pure language. When we read this book, we're supposed to put his name back in the book. We're supposed to speak a clean language because we're going back to a holy place. We are going back to our clean land, the land that our Father has prepared and promised our ancestors. We are preparing to go back there, my brothers and sisters. We are not talking about going to another city, like just going to go there and have fun, to go there. No, we're going back to serve our Redeemer. We're going back to meet him when he set up his sanctuary in the midst of us. We are going back there to glorify him. We are going back there to prove to him we have kept his commandments and we are willing to obey every word that came from his mouth. That's what we are practicing to do. That's what we need to practice to do at this time. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of Iah your Redeemer, to walk in his ways and to fear him. For Iah your Redeemer bring thee in a good land, a land of brooks and waters, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vine and fig tree and pomegranates, and a land of oil and olive and honey. My dear brothers and sisters, Iah is telling us what he has for us. That's not no heaven. That's not going down and going in the sky. This is on the earth. Iah is making a new heaven and a new earth. Iah is coming and setting up his kingdom with us. He promised he's going to raise David to be our king. It's on this earth, my dear brothers and sisters. Listen what Jeremiah is reminding us of what Iah said to us. He's reminding us, he's repeating what Iah says. A land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, and a land of olive and honey. Can this grow in the sky? Shemaiah is repeating to us what Iah said to him. This is on the earth. Trees don't grow in the sky, in the wind. This is earth. A land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarcity. We won't be eating bread and longing for bread. We won't be wondering when we're going to get something to eat. We didn't work this week so we can't buy food. No. There will be no scarcity. Thou shalt not lack anything in it. He tells you, verse 9, we will lack nothing in it. All we have to do when we go there is do not forget the commandments of Iah. Do not get fat and stop praising him. Thou shalt not lack anything in it. A land whose stones are iron, out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless Iah your Redeemer for the good land which he has given unto us. That's what we have to do. We have to remember, we have to practice now. We have to practice to thank Iah for all that he is doing for us. So when we go back there, we will not be in disarray. It will be accustomed to us. That is what we will be doing. But here we have to go to work and we have to suffer and we still have to give thanks because we have to learn this. While we're going through what we have to go through, we have to learn to do it. We have to learn it through our persecution. We have to learn it through our punishment. We have to learn it because we have to turn back. We have to beg. We have to beg. Iah is not, beware that thou forget not Iah your Redeemer in not keeping his commandments. We must not never forget Iah's commandments and his judgment and his statutes, which he command us this day. Lest when thou hast eaten and art full and hast built big houses and dwell therein, and when thy herbs and thy flock multiply, can flock multiply in the sky? Can herbs multiply in the air? It's on our land, my dear brothers and sisters. And thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all thou hast is multiplied. We're going to get all the gold we want. We're going to have the gold we want. Then thy heart be lifted up, and forget Iah your Redeemer. Do not lift up thy heart and forget Iah. That's why we have to practice every day to praise Iah, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of the flint, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and he might prove thee, to do thee good at thy latter end. So Iah is doing the same thing to us today, my dear brothers and sisters. He is proving us. He is proving us. If you have left and you did not know, and you went to do wrong to get possession, to have money, or to get job, or to have food, or to eat, or to walk, or to buy clothes, now is your time to ask Iah to forgive you. Now is the time to seek forgiveness. Now is the time to go to him and say, forgive me, for I knew not. Forgive me for when I went away from you unto GODs. You have to ask Iah to forgive you and turn back to him. 17. And thou say in thy heart, my power and the might of mine hand has gotten me this wealth. See, you cannot say that you have gotten this for yourself. You can't say that you have made it. Iah is doing this for you. 18. But thou shalt remember Iah your Redeemer, for it is he that has given you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, that he sware unto your fathers, as it is this day. You must remember. Stop saying Jesse give you something. You're blessed by Jesse. Idols give you nothing. The Most High said, trust not in man. Put your trust in him. Trust in Iah your Redeemer. Verse 19. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget Iah your Redeemer, and walk after other GODs. If you forget Iah and go after GODs and serve them and worship them, Shemaiah testify against you this day that you shall surely perish. Shemaiah testify that you go and do those things, you shall surely perish. But we, their children have a chance to ask for forgiveness. Their children have a chance to turn back to Iah. Their seeds, the offspring of Jacob, this day have a chance to ask for forgiveness. Verse 20. As the nations which Iah destroyed before your face, so shall you perish, because you will not be obedient unto the voice of Iah your Redeemer. My dear brothers and sisters, we are destroyed because we are disobedient to Iah our Redeemer, our Savior, the Holy One of Israel. We have given him up and have gone after GODs. We have given him up and gone after things that the heathen has invented. We have given him up and gone after demons and devils and evil spirits and fallen angels and Lucifer. Now is your chance to turn to Iah, our Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Read your book, my brothers and sisters. Read your book. This was upon me so strong this day that I had to do it again for you. I would like you to read it and study it and hear what Iah is saying to you. I have read from Deuteronomy chapter 4 to chapter 8. Study the words, my dear brothers and sisters. Study the words. Read the prophets. Read the words of the prophets. The Most High sent them with His word unto us. He did not give us a New Testament. He didn't give us disciples. He didn't give us apostles. The Most High didn't give us one called Jesse. He didn't give us one called Yeshua. He gave us one called Yeshua in the form of Joshua, the one who was with Moshe, but not Yeshua that died for us. He did not give us a Yeshua to come and die for us. The Most High does not want us to pray to no man. The Most High does not want us to put our trust in nobody's blood. The Most High wants us to put our trust in Him. And in particular, He says, call out His name, do His commandments, hope in the promise, and that's what we will do. And when we do that, we will say, Iah is our Redeemer, and Iah will say, these are my people. Praise be to Iah. All praise be to Iah. All praise be to Iah. Iah is great. Iah is great. Iah, your name is excellent in all the earth. Iah, your name is excellent in all the earth. All my praise be to Iah. All my praise be to Iah. Thank you, Iah, for everything. I thank you, Iah, for everything. You have done so much for me from my mother's womb, out of her bowels until this day. I am unable to mention all the good things you have done for me. And even when you had punished me, the punishment was for a good for me. That I have found you, O Iah, my Redeemer, and I accept your punishment. But I ask to forgive my sins, wash my transgression away, make me clean, Iah. Put your law in my heart, and magnify your spirit in me, and cause me to leap. Cause me to leap. Thank you, Iah. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. And I hope you will go in your book and you will study your book. I hope you will read your book. Praise be to Iah. Praise be to Iah.